It doesn't really matter what you're trying to achieve in life. If you can't stay disciplined and therefore consistent, you literally have no hope of achieving your goals. What's going on YouTube, it's Jason, and today we're going to speak about discipline.
You won't clean your room, you won't do what you want to do, and you talk to your mother like that?
Not that kind of discipline, but discipline in relation to ourselves and our goals. This video, although it's going to have a slight fitness angle, the principles in it pretty much apply to any area of your life where you are goal setting. It doesn't really matter what you're trying to achieve in life. If you can't stay disciplined and therefore consistent, you literally have no hope of achieving your goals. Now, discipline is a funny topic. A lot of people assume that to be disciplined, it just has to be something that naturally comes to you. But in my experience, I think there is a bit of nature and a bit of nurture. You can definitely teach yourself discipline. For example, I'm someone who has discovered with time that I am naturally quite disciplined. I love regiment, I love routine, but if you look to the first 12 to 13 years of my life, you would never know. I was lazy, I wasn't that driven, I would often start things and stop. I would give up on pretty much everything I started. But as I started to learn discipline and teach myself, I realized that I was able to tap into this wealth of discipline, which was obviously there from the beginning, but just lay dormant. And this is when I started to realize that you don't need to be a special breed of person to be disciplined. Of course it helps, but there's definitely a way you can nurture it within your own self to achieve your goals. And if you are someone who struggles with discipline, the good news is that you can learn it. And there are 5 key ways that you can become more disciplined. Point number 1, and this is super important, but know thyself. Know who you are, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know what resources you have available, know what networks and connections you have available. All of these are super important because what you want to do is maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. A lot of people that say they lack discipline are trying to be disciplined in areas where they are weak. And this is a big mistake because you can't change who you are. There are some things that you are just always going to struggle with. The key is to find support in those areas where you are weak so you can bring them up and minimize your losses. So using myself as an example, being vulnerable here, I'm someone who's naturally self-motivated and disciplined, but I'm not so good at organization. And so when I started running my own business, I could have spent months and years trying to become more organized. And while this is a New Year's resolution every single year, and I am getting better, it would be a lot easier for me to just employ a virtual assistant to do the admin and clean up for me. Now, of course, when I first started, I was doing everything myself. But when I got the VA involved, I found I had a lot less headache and I was able to focus on what I was good at. And therefore, I became more productive. Now, as humans, we hate asking for help. But if you're going to make progress, you need to get over yourself. So be humble, acknowledge your weaknesses, and get support for those weaknesses. Point number 2 is to be intentional. Plan ahead. If you're thinking in advance about what you're going to do, you are far more likely to execute. If I use training or working out as an example, so many people I know skip their sessions. But I always ask my clients, how many of you actually plan your sessions in advance? I.e., on a Sunday when you have downtime, are you thinking about the sessions that you're about to do? Because truth be told, for most people, the answer is no. They start their week, they go to work, they do all the mundane things, then they get to Thursday or Friday and they're like, oh, I haven't trained. And that's because training was an afterthought. If anything is an afterthought, things are going to come up, life is going to get in the way, and you are not going to get said thing done. So whether it's training or any other area, be intentional, set goals, short, medium, and long term, and set up an execution plan. Point number 3 is to develop emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is often only used when people need to cry or feel sorry for someone. But I'm speaking about emotional intelligence in terms of fortitude, i.e. getting what you need to get done regardless of how you feel. Now, this is something that doesn't come naturally to us as humans because we are naturally driven by our emotions. But I always tell my clients, if you think about how you get to work every single day, you are applying this skill, which is fortitude. Your alarm goes off on a Monday, it's cold outside, it's wet, you don't feel like getting to work, but somehow you still make it into work every single day. Well, most of us anyway. And that is because of fortitude. You know that you need to pay your bills, therefore you need to get into work to get paid. And so you do whatever it takes to make it to work. And it's no different with being disciplined in any other area of your life. Whether you are trying to save for a house, or you are working towards your career, or you are trying to study for something, or achieve a physical transformation, the same principle applies. There are times where you are not going to be bothered, you are going to be tired, you are going to be frustrated, fatigued, whatever it is. But in order to accomplish said goal, you are going to need to continue turning up and staying consistent. Develop fortitude towards those tasks that are non-negotiable. Point number 4 is to become an action taker. Now again, some people are better at this than others, but so many people get caught in this over-analysis paralysis where they end up thinking so hard about what they're trying to do that they don't actually end up taking action. And so the way you can deal with this and tackle it head on is to start setting yourself small tasks that you have to complete. Really easy, mundane things, but follow through on them. Set yourself promises, maybe even make other people promises, and make sure that you do what you say you will do. If you can learn to be faithful in the small things, it's going to help you deliver on the big things. Point number 5 is to stay inspired. Keep the vision in view. I always encourage my clients to write vision boards, and that is because we are human. We get discouraged, we get tired, we give up. And it's in those moments that you need to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. That's going to help you stay on course and get back on the wagon when you fall off. So if you're working towards something and you've lost your way, write down what it is you're trying to achieve and look at it every single day. And of course, maybe even more than once a day if you're feeling low or discouraged. Put the vision in front of you, make it tangible, make it real, and I promise you over time, you will become more disciplined. So that's everything you need to know. In a nutshell, yes, there are people who are naturally more disciplined than others, but you still need to tap into it, and if you're not so disciplined naturally, you definitely can develop it to help you towards your goals. Hope you enjoyed that video and found it helpful. Something a little bit different today, but I hope it helped you. If it did, don't forget to like this video and comment below for the algorithm, it massively helps. Please subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.